Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a longer term Chainlink market update. I'll cover some very key support and resistance levels, my longer term views, and also the Link Bitcoin ratio. So if you guys enjoy the content, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also consider checking out our sponsors and partners over at ftx.us. You can sign up with the link in the description below and get a 5% discount on your exchange fees. It's a great exchange. I highly recommend them. All right, so let's look at Chainlink here. I'm on the weekly right now, and I've got these two moving averages pulled up. The red one is the 20 SMA, the green one is the 21 SMA, and I like to think of them as more or less a band where when we're under this, we can expect it to hold as resistance. So if we go all the way back to this move back in January, you can see this is where the lower high formed. This is the level we rejected at following the bounce off the lows around $15. And then you can see we formed lower lows, retested the band yet again here in April, and then we rejected and then did the same pattern where we formed lower lows. And as you can see, we're right up at that level yet again, this band ranging from $9.75 to around $9.14. And the current high of this weekly candle is at around $9.50. So a very definitive retest of this key band of moving averages. So if we are to stick with the trend that we have been in, if we are to stick with the momentum, we could potentially expect yet another rejection or a lower high formed somewhere around this region. But obviously the trend could reverse. So what I'm going to be looking for is if Chainlink can actually get back above these moving averages, reclaim it on the weekly, and then retest it as support. Because the good thing about being above these moving averages is that in an uptrend, we can actually hold these as support and bounce off of them in the event of a correction. So if we go back here to 2020, you can see we had this big correction from $20 down to about $9. This was the level that we held support. We bounced off of all of these candles on the weekly. We're holding it as support. We continued higher and then made higher highs. So that is the importance of actually getting back above these moving averages and then reclaiming them as support, because that does a long way into sort of convincing me that we might have a potential bottom in place. But again, I still need to see that develop. This is still resistance until proven otherwise, and I'm still considering that the longer term downtrend is still in place and the momentum is indeed to the downside. But I will say I do see signs of that momentum actually slowing. Some of the momentum oscillators like the MACD have started to cross with Bitcoin, and I'm really starting to see that bearish trend beginning to weaken. Whether that has completely ended or not, it's going to have to wait and see. But again, ultimately, this is the level that I want to see reclaimed. And in the event of a continuation and another rejection off of this level, then I'm going to be looking at this longer term support level around $4.80. And if I zoom out all the way here, you can see this was the level that we held strong resistance back here in July of 2019. We also had another rejection here in March of 2020. And then following the break of this level, we went off to this quick mini peak here, forming the DeFi summer rally. So in the event of an eventual decline, retest of the lows, and a retest of this support level, this is where I would expect strong support to be held. You can see the current lows in place are formed about 10% off these lows, so we haven't actually retested as of this moment, but that could obviously change in the future. I'm also going to be talking about the Link Bitcoin ratio, which I really discussed in depth in my last video, where I do want to see eventually a longer term trend reversal. That is going to be a reversal of this downtrend we've been in since the DeFi summer peak in August of 2020. So basically what we've been doing is we've been forming all of these lower highs off this downward sloping trend line, coming up every few months or so again to form that lower high. And this is the structure that I want to see broken, because it'll start to mean that Chainlink is outperforming Bitcoin once again. And if I zoom out here, we had basically a very large uptrend against Bitcoin from December of 2017 to again that DeFi summer peak in August of 2020. And this is what I'm really looking for. I want to see Chainlink outperform Bitcoin and have higher returns to the upside, because essentially if I'm investing in Chainlink and it's underperforming Bitcoin, I would much rather just invest in Bitcoin, because again, it does take on less risk and that risk to reward ratio would be better just investing in Bitcoin. And I really just want to make this point extremely clear. So I'm going to be looking at a CoinMarketCap historical snapshot from that peak just to help visualize what this is representing. All right, so here is the historical snapshot from, again, that DeFi summer peak. This is showing us the prices of specific cryptocurrencies on that date. And you can see Bitcoin was around $11,800. Chainlink was at $19. So since then, Bitcoin has multiplied by 2x, and Chainlink is down around 60%. So again, this is more or less a cherry pick data point from the peak, but it just helps show you and visualize what this chart represents and why a reversal of that downtrend is extremely important because Chainlink could obviously do pretty well. Obviously, it had the peak upwards around $50 later on, but it still underperformed Bitcoin. And if you had just invested in Bitcoin, you would have experienced a better return. So if I go back here to the chart, that's what I want to see. I want to see a reversal. I want to see potentially some sort of break of this momentum to the downside. And I talked about this in depth in my last video. Maybe we have some sort of double bottom, a higher low, but in general, just breaking this structure where again, we form those lower highs around this general downward sloping resistance. Now, I will say in the short term, it is promising to see that we've reclaimed this level around 3,400 Satoshis. If we go all the way back here to 2019, you can see this was a key level of resistance. We had this rejection, we had another rejection here back in December, and then eventually we flipped it into support in April. Okay, so if we just change the color here, it was flipped into support. We had another bounce to support back in January of 2021, another bounce here in December, and then this last bounce here in March before falling below it. So it is a positive sign to see in the short term we're coming back above that level, reclaiming it, but I do want to see more confirmation. I do want to see maybe some consolidation and then eventually that break of that resistance. So that is the long-term analysis on Chainlink with the Chainlink Bitcoin and the USD pair. I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. Once again, you can check out our sponsors over in the link in the description below, ftx.us. It's a great exchange. Highly recommend them. You can buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency over at ftx.us. So as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.